Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly. And I've got a good one for you today because we are about to see a huge crash in real estate that is going to make the subprime mortgage loan program look good. And there's a lot to cover on this. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And today we have a sponsor, Delete Me, and I will talk about them in a bit. First things first, guys. There are, you know, over a million FHA mortgages that are substantially late that we've never heard about, that the banks own. And I'll cover that in a second. But one thing that's different right now, and this time over the history of record keeping, is that people owe more on their mortgages than they've ever owed before. And think about this. During the subprime shenanigans, we'll just say 2008, basically people owed on their mortgage up to 43% of their mortgage, of their income, went to their mortgage. Now it's well over 50%. When you can say, oh, big deal, it's less than, you know, 7% difference. No, that's a huge difference, guys, because the problem with it is that the average mortgage has almost tripled in value and price since that time. Now, here's something that is not talked about, and that is FHA mortgages that people went out and put 3.5% down on. If you have a hiccup in your finances or in the value of that house, you're never getting out of that house without a foreclosure, a bankruptcy, or something. All we've talked about over the course of the last 2 months is how many layoffs there have been, and people live very tight. Like I said, people, are over 50% loan to value of their house. Over 70% of their debt is basically mortgages right now. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's nuts right now to think that people are this overextended as a whole with all their debt across the country. Now, you've got some areas of the country that, think about this, that are not late. You have areas in the South and in Texas, uh, Georgia, you've got Tennessee, you've got Florida, of course, and they're having problems where people are late on their mortgages. Now, one thing that I've told you is that my two buddies that own different foreclosure companies, deal with different banks, have told me trouble is coming. Trouble is coming. And now that we have a new administration, the Biden administration basically kicked the can down the road. Think about what I'm about to tell you. If you were late in your mortgage, you didn't hear about it. You didn't hear about a million people being late in their mortgages and getting foreclosed upon. No, what they did was they just tacked it on to the back end of your payment. Basically gave you a forbearance program. Listen, Dan, we're going to help you get through this difficult time. So what we're going to do is just take those payments and put it at the end. Okay. Nobody does the math on this, that basically you're taking it, you're adding the interest onto the loan. The loan is growing with the interest. So, Mr. Squirrel's happy digging it. But it's a problem, guys. Okay? So, with that, you've got over a million FHA loans that they're basically going to say, hey, wait a second, you can't do this anymore. And one thing that we've talked about was it was just a matter of time until the Trump administration started to give real numbers out and just didn't hide everything, which is wild to think about. Wild, wild, wild to think about. So now you're getting the real numbers, and the real numbers is that the average, so many people cannot afford their mortgages right now. They bit off more than they could chew. They're, John, you always get overtime. You're going to do fine. You're going to be able to get through this. And you can't. And what's happening is that now that this is all catching up to people, the banks are starting to say, no, you have to pay us, and we're not going to extend this anymore. So you've got areas that are starting to drop, but what you have is you have these pockets where people are behind 60 days or more. The West Coast, the areas where you saw the most amount of appreciation, people are still doing okay. But the problem with it here in California, you could see the highest, the largest percentage of homes drop in value here in California than any other place in the country. Read all the stories below and do your own due diligence on this. But this is crazy because it's finally catching up to us. And what you're going to see is the banks are just not going to forgive this. You're not going to see it kicked down the road. This is not going to happen anymore. They're done with this. You have to pay your bills. And, we've seen eviction moratoriums we've talked about. We've seen all the shenanigans. And I had, my brother write me and say, can you believe that they want to do you cannot evict anybody for anything. You can't demand rent from anybody. Who pays the mortgage on that stuff if they do this? Now that's just speculation in one person's conversation. But could you imagine that, guys? We have the COVID shenanigans again. That was the first time in history where you were not expected to make your mortgage payment. Goodbye, don't worry about it. Deal with it later. And people are still dealing with that right now. That's what's crazy about this. So you're going to see values drop. You're going to see all these mortgages finally get caught up to where they're going to have to be current, or you're going to get kicked out. It's that simple. A lot of these people cannot refinance their house because their income has changed. If you've lost your job, if you've had any issue with your, work or anything like that, you're not going to refinance. I mean, talk to Sabina, the one that was in the video a few days ago. Dan, they're starting to scrutinize this. AOC and Anna Paulina Luna are talking about lowering credit card interest as a joint venture between the Republicans and Democrats of lowering credit card interest rates to 10%. 75% of you out there are going to lose your credit cards. Mark my words. A lot of you out there. Now, there's a lot of financially savvy people out there. We've got good credit, ratings, and you've got good banks that you deal with. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people have been divorced, lost a job, had hiccups in their lives, so their credit's okay. Well, if your credit's okay, the bank doesn't want to lend you money at 10%. They want to lend you money at 28, 29%. Borrow all you want. Here's $5,000 credit line. They will do that over and over again. Those days are done. Done. Okay? So, mark my words, guys. Oh, this is going to be great. We're going to have it capped at 10% interest rate. You'll never get a credit card. The other thing is, you can have 10% interest rate, but please understand, if you are late one day, you're going to have a $75 late charge. You're going to have all the shenanigans. You bounce us a check, $75. It'll be things like that that'll make it so that they're going to make their money someplace to have a risk like you. Now, people hear that and they go, well, I'm not a bad risk, Dan. My credit's fine. I'm okay. No. Not for 10%, you're not okay. Not for a credit card, not for a signature loan. There are people out there that have written me that have credit cards with $125,000 credit lines, things like that. And some of the banks they've sent me, I've researched the banks. Some of them are not, I don't want to call them shady, but they're just wild, because I guarantee if this person put $10,000 in that credit card, they would be paying almost 30% interest on some of those cards. That is nuts, guys. The problem with this is that the banks are going to start getting their money. The days of, free love and easy money are done. They're finished. And you need to spur money to borrow money to be able to have an economy that's built on credit, but you also have to be able to pay it back too. That's the problem. These houses, you're going to see a rash of foreclosures now. You're going to see things happen to where people are going to do cash for keys, where they're going to turn the houses back to the bank. My favorite thing that people send me is, Dan, you're stupid. Realtors are making deals, they're buying down interest rates, they're doing things like that to temporarily get somebody into the house. Okay, great. What do you do 3 years from now? Refinance, Dan. Of course, the house is going to go $200,000 and you're going to make the same amount of money. Are you? How come you're not making it today? Let me know, guys. There's more to cover in this video. Let's talk about our sponsor, Delete Me. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that there's different companies out there called data brokers, and data brokers harvest all of our personal information and sell it to people. Have you ever gotten a text message from somebody? How did they get my phone number? You ever get an email from somebody you never gave your information out? Data brokers. Well, if you use Delete Me, it's a fantastic service. They can help you get rid of these people. I have used this for about 6 months now. It is amazing. They have eliminated so much stuff, and all you do is go to use the link below, joindeleteme.com/iAllegedly, and you will get rid of all this personal information off the internet, from your name, pictures, your phone number, your email address, your house. your job, your relatives, all this pertinent information that you don't want people to have, Delete Me can get rid of. After you sign up, about a week later, they start sending you these reports, and the reports show you everything that they've eliminated. It is absolutely amazing. Check it out today. If you don't want to use the link below, use this QR code. Take a picture of this with your cell phone, and you can save 20% today. It's a fantastic service. I absolutely love it, but it just works so good, and it's ongoing. Check out Delete Me today and use the discount code iAllegedly. I'm in the greenhouse right now. I love this place. It's very cool. Sherman Gardens, check it out. Anyways, I love stories like this one. When you buy an EV car, there is a rebate. There's incentives that you get that make it so that the car can become more affordable for the buyer and for the seller, for the dealership. In Canada last week, think about this one. There was a rash of EV sales and what they called them rebate redemptions. So much so that it got everybody's attention as far as the government was concerned, because they said in a 3-day period they sold 8,653 Teslas. They had one day, you had different dealerships that sold supposedly 1,500 cars in a day. No, it worked out to where they were selling 50 Teslas an hour. Boom, 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 boom. It just doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense. But the problem with it is that these rebates at $5,000 a piece were huge. I mean, you've got $43 million in rebates that the dealerships claimed from the government. Uh-oh. Is that a scam or what? I love stuff like this. Read the story from Motor Biscuit. But again, you're going to see stuff like this over and over again. But instead of doing 50 cars, they had to do 1,500, and make it so it just, you know, so obvious that it was a scam. So, a lot of these cars don't sell without the rebates. San Diego, California has a ADU program where you could basically put an ADU in your backyard and anybody could do it. The problem with it was there was a loophole and people were building 3 and 4 units in their backyards, making them basically apartments in their backyards. And they're like, we didn't intend for this. Think about this. You live on a street. You know your street. Ken's kind of a jerk. He's got a boat. He's got the motorcycle trailer. He brings it out, once a month. We know when Ken's leaving. We know when he's coming back because it just takes the whole street. Well, imagine adding 3 more houses on your street that have 3 more houses in the backyard. Where does everybody park? They don't. There's no environmental impact reports for things like this. It's just basically a free-for-all with all these people moving into all these units. And again, I understand there's a housing shortage and you can have all those arguments, but it gets to a point that it gets ridiculous. So the city of San Diego said no more. We're not going to allow apartment buildings to be built in the back of these houses. Because I'm telling you guys, you could build, think of the unit. Parking underneath. You could have 3 or 4 units up on top, 1, 2 bedroom units, and basically make it look like a Motel 6, and got that in your backyard. Enjoy. Okay? If you don't have room for parking in the back, they'll just park in the street. Don't worry about it, Dan. No big deal. Why are you complaining? You don't live on our street. But, the idea with this was sold as this is going to be a way to retire. It's going to be a way to make more money. It's going to be a way to make it so that you won't have, you don't have to buy other real estate. You can use your existing property. This place is beautiful. It's always decorated for the holidays, too. It's always so nice. The next place to offer a buyout for you to leave, as far as a government job is concerned, is Health and Human Services, a place run by the one and only Robert Kennedy. So it will be interesting to see how many people take that offer, 25 grand to step down instead of potentially being fired. You walk away with something. Now, Citibank just made an offer. That's kind of interesting. There's a rule that if you're over a certain age, that they can make these offers and you can leave with your stock. And there's a banking article below talking about this. A lot of employees have been let go from Citibank and didn't take their stock options and company stock with them. Now, here's the thing: if you agree not to go to the competition, a significant competitor, then you can take the stock with you. It's kind of interesting what they're coming up with, because I mean, I don't know if it'll work or not, or if they'll get sued by somebody that's, say, 58 years old. Hey, I'm 58 and I'm not 60 yet, so it's not fair that you're doing this with me because I've got 500,000 shares of stock. So this room is incredibly humid. It is very hot, and they pump air in, and then like every few minutes they blow steam in. But the critters love it in here. You got the turtles over there. It's very, very cool. Now, the next thing is, we've seen this before and it failed miserably. CVS wants to be competitive against Target and Walmart and everybody else, so they're going to start building mini CVS locations. Who did this? Walgreens did this. Here in California, there were hundreds of these locations put up, and they were mini pharmacies where basically you had a drive through, and if you walked inside, you could talk to the pharmacist, and they probably had very little merchandise. I mean, 7-Elevens were bigger than these places, and they failed miserably because why would I want to go there? I can't get my prescription and something else. And the lines were incredibly slow because Mabel wanted to ask questions for about an hour. Will this make me tired? Come on. It was just such a mess. But those locations are still here in California. Now CVS is going to do this. It's different, a lot different than the mini Targets. Those are great because it's basically a shrunk down store. It's the exact same merchandise that you have in a regular Target, but it is probably 20% of what a regular Target is. It's great. Very convenient, very quick. You got to ring up your own merchandise. There's no help. But I don't think this is a big deal for CVS. I just think it goes to value, price, everything that we've talked about in so many videos about what brings people back as far as customer service. And I don't think these mini stores are going to work. Let me know what you think. I'm going to finish this video with these last two things. First thing, we have a private channel called iAllegedly Live, and I absolutely love creating content for that. So many of you are on it, and check it out today. You go to iAllegedly.tv, enter that into your browser, check it out today, and again, uncensored content. It's fantastic. I absolutely love doing it. Final story. There is a website where you can rent cars called Turo, Turo, and people put their cars on Turo to earn money. And I've had friends that say, "Hey, I wonder if I could make money letting people drive your car. Would you want somebody to rent your car?" Basically, it's the Airbnb of auto rental. Well, three men were in Arizona, and they rented a 2022 Charger. And as they were eating at a Raising Cane's their chicken fingers, the cops pull up, guns drawn, and tell the men that they are driving a stolen vehicle. Now, it all worked out, but the problem with this is that the owner of the vehicle is the rightful owner, but the car was in fact reported stolen at one point. But I forgot to notify the police that it was no longer not stolen. So they were going to arrest this guy. Who's at fault? I would sue everybody. I'd sue Turo. I'd sue his fat ass. I'd sue everybody for that. Okay, guns drawn. Guy's going to see his kid for a baby shower, and he's got the cops pulling a weapon on him because he thought he stole a car. Now, it all worked out well. Nobody got taken into custody, but that is crazy. Do you know how many people have had their lives ruined because cars were reported stolen? There was a very famous story that I did like a year and a half ago about a woman who rented a Hertz car. And honest to God, I think I did the story here. I told you this. This woman rents a car from Hertz and gets pulled over, said the car's stolen. She was literally going to go to the sheriff's department because she was going to work at the sheriff's department. You can't do that now with an arrest record. Uh-oh. So I'm sure, you know, it's called Melanie's Hurts now. But anyways, I'm sure she got a huge settlement for that. But having your life ruined, put in jail for days, like 8 days she was in jail, something awful like that. So let me know what you think about stuff like this. But man, I hate Airbnbs. I hate apps like this. Go rent it from the rental car company so you don't have to worry about stuff like this, unless it's hers. So then they can say it was stolen and when it wasn't. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, email me hello@iallegedly.com, and hope everybody's well right now. Man, I love coming out. It's just so peaceful. This place is great on the holidays and when they start decorating for different things. So I'll make sure that I come out here during different times of the year. I'll see you guys soon.